Today, the whole world is in a state of chaos, fighting against the forces of greed, envy, jealousy, and fear. Disharmony is rife. All of our human relations are in a state of violent upheaval. Civilization is in reverse. Science is being used to destroy instead of to build.
64,000 is the median number of words per book. Average person reads about 200 words per minute. Simple math will tell us that is one book in 320 minutes. To accomplish this in 7 days, numbers say you would have to read for 45 minutes a day. Don't forget to subscribe. Hit that notification button, like, comment, and share. Enjoy.
Welcome to the Book of the Week series. Every week as I read another amazing title, I share it with the world. My name is Igor S.F. Walker. Today, we look at The Universal One by Walter Russell. So how about you slow down and relax, reduce all that noise for just a bit, make that choice, and decide to listen. In this video, we look at a masterpiece originally published in 1927 and distributed to the top scientists in the country. It is being republished at this crucial period for the sole purpose of again releasing vital new scientific knowledge to this new age of new comprehension. So stick around till the end. I will share with you some tools. I do have a news that will help you tremendously in this game of life. Discover a way to find out what actually motivates you, what innate human need is driving all of your decisions and your behavior. I will share some tools to improve your self-awareness, social awareness, self-management, and relationship management. The physicist draw a sharp line between things in which he can, in some way, detect by the evidence in his senses, and his things would lie beyond that evidence. There is no denial of a something beyond the range of his senses and his sensed instruments. But what may be there is conjectural and therefore inadmissible as scientific data of a reliable nature. But what about that vast range which will not respond to our sensed bodies and our sensed instruments? What of it? We're prone to think that this civilization of ours is an extremely advanced one. On the contrary, man of today is in an exceedingly primitive state of his evolution. He or she is a bearer of heavy burdens, sweating at heavy labor at the bowels of earth because of his pitiful ignorance of this universal power, which awaits only his knowledge to render it available for his free use. Knowledge of the one thing will lift the yoke, which means that the man has placed on his own shoulder, fundamentally wrong in his basic premises, and wasteful in his practice. Man's modern concepts of the universe must be torn down and built again on truth, as plainly told in light. Primitive in his concepts, man divides the universe into the seen and the unseen, then finds himself groping in the dark, blindfolded, hopelessly trying to find the way to the door of the Holy of the Holies. Wrong concepts of the atom structure and the modern electric theory of energy and its transmission, of conductivity, of radiation and gravity, and of that electrochemical state of opposed motion called luminosity. All of these wrong concepts of motion and of matter must be remolded. on truth. With truth come knowledge, and with knowledge power to transmute at will, and simply plentiful substances of matter into those which are the rarest to meet the needs of men. There is no created universe. Nothing is which has not always been. All created things are from the beginning. They have no beginning. They do not come into being. They are and always have been and always will be. Creation means to man the coming into existence of something which was not before in existence. Man's concept of creation is the coming into being of a physical, visible universe, heretofore non-existent. Man holds a concept of two universes, a spiritual and a physical. Creation is an apparent integration in continuity of that which already exists in substance. It is a periodic change of state of the one unchanging substance. It is evolution. God is in reality and exists in substance. God is thinking mind. The substance or body of God is light. The substance of all created things is light. The one substance of the thinking mind is all that exists. The created universe is the registration in matter of the idea of thinking mind. Mind is expressed in light. The whole of the universe is but one living, breathing, pulsing being. There are no two lives or two living beings in the universe. There are no two of anything in the universe. The universe and all that is but one. Life is the effect produced on the substance of mind by the sequence of altering electromagnetic pulsation, which constitute the process of thinking. Life is merely the registration in matter of states of motion of thinking mind. The substance of mind has the appearance of many states of motion, which man calls the elements of nature. The elements of nature do not vary in substance. They vary only in their states of motion. All motion is motion in equilibrium. No other motion is possible. Matter and mind and light and energy are eternal. They're constant. They are cause. Form and motion are illusions. They are fleeting. They are effects. Creation is merely a swing of the cosmic pendulum from inertia through energy and back again to inertia forever and forever. It is but a series of opposing pulsations of action and reaction, integration and disintegration, gravitation and radiation, appearance and disappearance. The universal mind is a formless thinking substance. Matter is the registration of the divine idea of thinking mind. Man is familiar with the thinking process in his own daily experiences. Consider for a moment that concentrated thinking of man in conceiving ideas. Isn't the idea at first nebulous? And as a man concentrates electrically in his thinking, Is not the idea more and more distinct in form? And does not that form remain clear and distinct as long as man concentrates dynamically upon thinking that idea? When man's concentration relaxes, does not the idea become more and more nebulous in form and more indistinct until it is but a memory? Just so with the thinking of the universal mind. Light travels, energy is transmitted, electricity is conducted or inducted, and the heat radiates from its source to other localities. Are principles which modern science accepts as fundamental facts. These great misconceptions gave rise to the theory that ether is a quivering elastic solid existing in space along the undulating waves of which light, heat, and all form of energy can travel from one place to another. It is hereby concluded that all motion is expressed in waves, but those waves are not undulating. Energy cannot travel along waves because entire waves do not form in sequence. In other words, one whole wave is not completed before another begins. Waves are but effects which evolve as their cause evolves. Waves reproduce themselves part for part in sequence throughout the universe. Energy, therefore, cannot travel along waves which are not undulating, but are actually reproducing themselves part for part. It cannot leap across waves which are lacking in thoughts and crests. Light does not travel. It actually reproduces itself. Man's fixed concepts of the reality of time is a drag anchor holding him away from truth. His fixed concepts of intervals of time, in which one effect of motion in one part of the universe makes its appearance in another part, is a result of such purely objective thinking that true concepts cannot be replaced as long as this method of thinking persists. There are no parts to mind substance, no place, no position. Every part is the same part, every place and position, the same place and position. Thinking is universal, and all effects of thinking are universal. More than this, they are simultaneously universal, for thinking is simultaneously universal. The simplest but the greatest of all laws of the universe. Everything that is of everything else that is. Nothing is of itself alone. All created things are indissolubly united. This is the law of the entire substance of divine mind. This is the law of the souls of things. This is the law of love. This is the law of the oneness of the universe. All that is one. There are not two independently separate things in the entire universe. Individuality is non-existent. Individuality is but an appearance of separability and divisibility in a universe which is non-separable and non-divisible. No one can say, I alone am I. If one should say, I am I, he must also say to all men, all created things, I am thou, and thou art also I. The oneness of the universe is the sublime, simple, one spiritual substance of divine mind. To know the wave is to know the secret of creation. The wave is nature's method of transferring the dimensionless concept of form in inertia to dimensional form in mass in motion. Try an impact of the energy of the concept against the inertial plane. The dimensions of any wave are the dimensions of the multiples in universal ratios of the energy constant represented by the wave. The purpose of the wave is to transfer states of motion from one potential to another. This is nature's method of accumulating the energy constant from low potential to high potential, octave by octave, in a series of progressive steps until maximum motion has been reached. Every state of motion is the result of a concept of that state. All concepts are but recollections of eternal ideas. All forms are but the regenerated memories of the universal mind. Let us repeat the definition of the wave. The wave is nature's method of transferring the dimensionless concept of form in inertia to dimensional form in mass in motion by an impact of the energy of the concept against the inertial plane. The concept and expression of all energy is simultaneously universal, and its preponderance of opposition is sequential. Waves are the expression in motion of the concept of energy. Energy expresses itself by an apparent division of its force into equal opposites of more and less. Therefore, each wave is divided into opposites. Time is the measure of universal repetitiveness. All phenomena of nature are repetitive. All repetition is sequential. Time is the interval between the sequences of events. Were there no events, time would not be. If nothing happened in the universe, there would be no intervals. Every idea is constantly changing. Every effect of motion is constantly changing. Changing things can have no existence. On the contrary, all that man calls the undependable unreality of the unseen universe is in fact the only reality. Mind is the only real thing in the universe, and mind is all that is. Mind is the only substance in the universe. There is no other substance. Thinking mind is the only living thing in the universe. The thinking of mind is the life principle of the one substance. Thinking mind evolves ideas and registers them in form through motion. Man's physical universe of solids of matter is an aggregation of the forms of ideas throughout by mind and held in suspense for a time. When man learns that God is mind, that mind is the one living, pulsing, thinking force, and that he is that force, then man will have arrived at another stage in his evolution. When man learns that all his thinking is electrochemically recorded in the heavy master tones, which constitute a record of the evolving idea of his self-creating soul, and when he finds that he badly opposed record will keep him centuries behind more equally opposed ones, he will then have a thought as to kind of a soul he is creating. There is no death. There is no darkness. There is only life in the universe of light. God is light. God is life. God is all that is. Just so long as man looks for the God force outside of nature and outside of himself, just so long as he bows in fear to the personal deity of his early inheritance, he will be the slave of his own imaginings. The God force speaks to inspired man of inner thinking in the universal language of light, which all may understand when they but desire to understand. Everything that is must be of everything else that is. Nothing can be of itself alone. There can be no two of anything in the universe, two substances, two minds, or two beings. All things are universal, one. And there you have it, the universal one. Please, do help out. It is easy. Simply like this video so more people can enjoy it. Share it too, and spread the word. Leave a comment. Do share your thoughts. Subscribe to my channel, and then stay up to date. And the link to this book is in the description below. Buy it, read, never stop learning, especially learning about yourself and nature. So gift yourself by taking the free human needs test on my website and find out what actually motivates you. What innate human need is driving all of your decisions and your behavior. And if you feel you are ready to improve your self-awareness, social awareness, self-management, and relationship management even further, do check out my Master of Life Awareness program. The links are in the description below. Thank you. Love and respect.